Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. This is going to be a reading on martial law that was declared in South Korea this morning by the president, President Yoon. During his televised announcement, Yoon described the opposition party as shameless pro-North Korean anti-state forces who are plundering the freedom and happiness of our citizens. He didn't elaborate on what they were doing to cause this when he declared that martial law. Troops went onto the streets, and Parliament, which wasn't supposed to... I think basically they had elections recently, and the opposition party took control of Parliament. So he was trying to prevent Parliament from sitting. With martial law, you're not supposed to sit. But the Parliament members defied the martial law, held a session where they voted unanimously, if I understand this correctly, to lift the martial law, which the president did do. So South Korea was under martial law for about 6 to 8 hours or so today. The opposition parties are now demanding that the president explain himself why he declared martial law and basically to resign. And when a picture, if you will, an American president declaring martial law, and then the Republicans and Democrats in Congress voting unanimously to lift that martial law. That would be the situation you'd be in. And you should resign before we impeach you, because that would be a high crime and misdemeanor. That would be an impeachable offense. And if they can unanimously vote to lift martial law, they could probably unanimously vote to impeach you and to remove you from office. So that's the South Korean position. How does that correlate with the United States? Remember when in 2020 the word martial law was written on a piece of paper tucked under the arm of everybody's favorite pillow guy, Mike Lindell, as he left a meeting from the White House in the November-December timeframe of 2020. Might have been as late as January of 2021, but it was in that realm. I think it was late December is when that meeting happened. So is that something that could happen here? Would folks in the United States rise up like the South Korean people did to protest the martial law? Would Congress come together and push back against a power play like this? Let's find out. So I would read on South Korea, but it's been resolved. And I just did a live with Marina on that one. And my reading on that one is, if you're going to declare martial law, you better have a good PR campaign going on. For all the criticisms I have of Donald Trump and his cronies, PR campaigns, they do really, really well. They PR campaigned the Mueller report. They PR campaigned the quote-unquote stolen election. They're really good at that. Martial law in the United States. If it happened here, how would people react? Entertainment purposes only. Two of Wands. You have the planning and the corruption that would go with it. It would be, if martial law is declared in the United States, it's due to corrupt planning. Made by somebody, again, like Trump, who's going to calculate, does this best serve me? How does this serve me? Can I get away with doing this? In the past, you got the Page of Pentacles coming up with the idea. Can we enact it? And I think in the case of Trump, he was told it's going to be too difficult to pull it off. You may want it, but you're not going to be able to pull it off. There'd be riots and fighting in the street. Basically, the United States has not had this, and they're not going to embrace it. And, you're leaving people out in the cold. You're leaving your supporters out in the cold. We will leave you out in the cold. So would martial law work in this country? No. Not going to work. So, let's take it a step further. Joe Biden has not done a PR campaign even a little bit. with regards to election interference. Matter of fact, there's so little news about election interference, it would cause one to reasonably conclude that nobody's really looking that seriously at it. If you were going to say that we were going... I could picture a scenario where Biden, right after the election, says, you know what, we're going to audit all the battleground states because the Republicans are really concerned about election fraud, election interference, and we're going to do a full recount on all the battleground states. We're going to send the FBI out there and logistic experts, and we're going to oversee the recounts, and we're going to look for cases of fraud. Bring the whole freaking Justice Department there. You could start that right in November, and we'd be a month into it at this point. And give updates and stuff like that. That's what you would want to do as a PR campaign. And watch the Republicans howl because they won, quote unquote, those elections, and now you're tampering with them. That's how they would frame it, although that wasn't what it was in Arizona back in 2020. Okay, so martial law is not going to fly. Would Donald Trump try and do martial law again when it comes time for him to leave office? Ten of Cups. Here's the end of his office. Everybody's celebrating. Hooray. Congratulations. You're at the end of your term. You can't be reelected. And then everything comes crashing down again. Would he declare martial law? Oh, hell yes. There's no happy ending with this. Matter of fact, he's probably already planning it now. He's not even in office. He's planning on how not to leave office the next time around. In the past, you got the Moon card. The first time we didn't have that peaceful transfer of power, things didn't work out. Things didn't work out the way as planned. But now you've had time to plan. He knows what he needs to do, which is why they want to have purity tests for generals. Are they sufficiently loyal to whom? The Constitution or Trump? Putting government, he will fill key government positions with sycophants, people who will do whatever he tells them to. He'll make federal employees Schedule F employees and take away their power. Consolidate power as much as he can. Overarching energy is the Page of Cups. Just crazy ideas on how to maintain power. But the problem is, he may not be in his right mind when it comes time for him to leave. Lesson to be learned is the Hermit. They didn't know what they were doing the last time. They were unskilled, and now they're better prepared for that path going forward, and they absolutely will enact it. What's going to save us? This is the only thing that can save us. Politicians and the people saying, no, we're not going to put up with this. We want a peaceful transfer of power, not chaos. But this is kind of a disjointed reading. Usually I know kind of where I want to go with these readings. This thing's all over the place here. Yeah, it's going to be exciting times in the U.S. here. Where do I want to go with it at this point? Just as a collective, the U.S. voter, the U.S. population, if there was another attempt at the prevention of a peaceful transfer of power, would U.S. citizens stand up and fight against it? Realizing that this next time around, Trump doesn't have to be reelected. He doesn't have to take care of his followers, his MAGA base. Because he's already installed in power. If he doesn't plan on leaving, he can't be voted in again according to the Constitution. 2 terms is all you get. This is term number 2. So you don't need people to vote you in because there's no third term. And he won't be able to get a constitutional amendment passed to allow for a third term. So you either die in office or you just don't leave, right? And if he's not going to leave, he's going to have to rely on martial law. to prevent that him being removed. Will the American public put up with that? We'll close it up with this. For Carter, the Emperor. Yeah, I'm going to be a king. Some people may say we're stuck with that. Others may cut themselves free. Some people will want it. Some people will want their king. Hoping that they will benefit by supporting the king. They'll try and quell people's emotions. Queen of Swords. It's kind of a, here we go. Do you want a king? Basically, what are your values? It's a big value decision here. What do you want as American citizens? You're only a victim, you're only a hostage if you choose to be. It's a choice. You can contain your emotions or you can let them run raw. It's a choice. I'm asking if people will rise up. In the end of the day, the decision is if you want a king, that's your choice. You can do nothing and have a king, or you can do something about it. Okay, you don't need to be an intuitive or role play one in your D&D group to come up with that answer. But the message really is that simple. What do you want? That's a free will choice. You want a king? Sure, you can have a king. Just what do you have to do to have a king? Just do nothing. Just sit there and act like you're a victim and, don't go out and express yourself. That's how you end up with a king. You don't want a king? Then you better untie yourself and set yourself free and let people know how strongly you feel about that. Otherwise, quiet, silence is complacency is basically agreeing to it. I'm sure there's a saying for it that I'm butchering in there. Complacency is acceptance, something like that. We need more protests. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you find it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.